With so many guys invited to the draft, are we going to have another repeat of the Aaron Rodgers incident? I think so. Let's check it out. Hi everybody, welcome back to JetsHQ. I'm Howie. Thanks for being with me again, I really appreciate it. I think we had a lot of fun in the last video. We really did have a good time mocking out all those great draft day trades for the Jets. Be nice to see any of that happen. I know that it was in good fun, and was trying to use some logical sense with it, but things have to break just right for that. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that day, but here what we have is the 23 people that might not be looking forward to that day, or maybe they are. They're probably looking forward to it as a great day in their career, but at least one of those guys is going to consider this the worst day of his life. And that's because there's 23 invitees to this year's NFL draft, and at least 23 people who have accepted the invites. Now, I don't think it's unprecedented to have 23 people there, but in this day and age with the cameras in the green room, it's going to be tough. There's a lot of guys that need to get drafted in the first round, and we're going to have some Aaron Rodgers type incident. Now, does that necessarily mean that the quarterbacks are going to fall? No, not necessarily. But there's going to be some kid in that green room who's going to be pretty lonely by the end of round one. So let's take a look and see what we've got. All right, so first of all, let's go back in history. Let's talk about all the different times that it's been pretty bad for a guy in the green room during draft day. And I think that the first one that comes to mind, at least in my mind, because I'm a little bit older and I was around when ESPN started filming these things. It wasn't a big day at the time, but it was a big day at this guy's life. In the 1984 NFL draft, the top quarterback on the board was Boomer Esiason. And you guys might have seen, I think they did a 30 for 30 on this or something, but he had a rough day. Now, Boomer was looking a little young back then. He had the buck teeth going on, and he was sure he was going to go in the top 10 of the draft. He was the only good quarterback coming out that year. And the year before, there was a big fight, if you recall. It was the John Elway, Dan Marino draft, and there was two other, let's see, who else? Kenny O'Brien and Jim Kelly and Todd Blackledge. There was a ton of quarterbacks the year before. Well, Boomer was the only quarterback in '84, and he was expecting to just take it easy, get picked, and laugh all the way to the bank. But it wasn't the way it turned out for him. So Boomer sat there through the whole first round, and even the Bengals passed on him like 3 times. They had 2 first-round picks, they had a couple of second-round picks, and finally, in the middle to the end of the second round, the Bengals finally put him out of his misery and took him. And it turned out great for them. They saved a ton of money, and he was a great quarterback for them. But it was excruciating, and watching that on TV was, there's a lot of people that just enjoy that kind of pain and misery, but it was tough to watch. So that was the first time in history that we had a situation like that. And I think we're setting ourselves up again for that this year. So anyway, so that was in '84. Then, of course, you've got 1988. When you're not talking about a quarterback, you're talking about a running back. And in '88, the guy who was left on the board, he was Thurman Thomas. Now, he wasn't in the green room. He was at home, but he invited cameras, ESPN cameras, into his house. So we're going to film you, watching you get drafted, and the screaming and everything, and everybody's happy, and mom's going to give you a kiss. But man, poor Thurman, he had the roughest day. So, he was coming out of Oklahoma State, and there he is with everybody in the whole city sitting in his living room. And by the time you were done, I think he went in the second round. You had seen his freaking refrigerator. You had an interview with the postman from up the street. It was a joke. And poor Thurman, sitting there sweating bullets waiting to get drafted. One of the greatest running backs of all time. And here he is, he's in the second round, and he's just dying on TV with those bright lights and them interviewing people in his house and filming his kitchen. And it was just awful. So anyway, that was 1988. Then we get a little bit more current, and then the most famous one, of course, is the Aaron Rodgers incident. It was 2005. And Aaron Rodgers, he didn't even fall into the second round, but the pain on his face was so terrible. He was expected to go number 1. It was either him or Alex Smith, and Alex Smith goes number 1, and immediately everybody in the room knew Rodgers was going to fall. And he fell and fell and fell. And every time somebody got picked, they show Aaron Rodgers. It was ridiculous. So the poor guy is sitting there. he's just, his hair gel was holding perfect, but the rest of him looked like he wanted to slink under a rock. And, of course, the Packers finally took him at 24, and, the rest was history. He sat behind Brett Favre forever. He was even made fun of at award ceremonies about being the backup for Brett Favre, but it turned out great for Aaron Rodgers. But, that day and the next couple of years, just brutal. So then the last one that I have a really good example of was in 2007, and it wasn't even a terrible fall. It was Brady Quinn, and he should have fell, but he actually didn't. I think the Browns picked him at like number 10, and he was supposed to go number 1, and it was tough, and it was a little excruciating for him then, and he wasn't too happy. But he went to number 10 for the Browns, and it wasn't as painful, but it's still an example of one of those days. So anyway, we've got this year. We're totally setting these kids up. There's 23 of them. And what are the odds that all 23 of these guys are going to go in the first round? I realize they're all been talked about. We've mock drafted them and all these things, but it's pretty rough when there's 23 of you and there's only 32 picks. So you're just begging for some kid to fall to the bottom. You have to. There's going to be somebody there at pick number 23 because there's 23 of these guys. You can't take 2 guys at 1 pick. So somebody's going to get just destroyed on TV, watching them sit there and sweat while they shake hands with everybody else and tell them how great they did and congratulations. I wouldn't want to put myself in that situation. Now, I would love to walk across the stage and shake the commissioner's hand and give him a bear hug and hold up the helm, the hat and this jersey. Believe me, I would. But if I'm the 23 ranked guy, I'm going to weigh that with the pain of sitting there for 4.5 hours watching everyone else get drafted except me. I don't know about you. I'm not up for that. I put the camera in my house and show me screaming once I get the phone call. So anyway, let's take a look at the 23 guys that are going to be there. So here's what we've got. We've got Josh Allen. He's going to be there. You got DeAndre Baker out of Georgia. Got Nick Bosa. Those guys, not much of a problem. We got Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown in Oklahoma. We got Brian Burns, the defensive end from Florida State, Devin Bush, Andre Dillard. Now, Andre Dillard is a tackle. He's a great tackle out of Washington State. Tackles will probably go. Okay, he probably will go. Noah Fant, tight end from Iowa. Now, he's got a chance to drop all the way to 32 with the Patriots or beyond. So there's one. That's a danger, right? Cody Ford, tackle out of Oklahoma. You got T.J. Hawkinson, the other tight end out of Iowa. 2 tight ends out of Iowa. They're both showing up to the first round of the draft and hope to walk across that stage. It's going to be interesting. Josh Jacobs, running back, Alabama. You get Daniel Jones, the quarterback. Daniel Jones might not even get drafted in the first round. There's a good chance that he won't. The Giants might want to take him round 2 or something. Okay, sit there all day and come back for day 2, kids. That's rough. Drew Lock, DK Metcalf, these guys we've all talked about. Kyler Murray, obviously, is going to be there. Ed Oliver, Montez Sweat. He's going to be there. Jawan Taylor, my favorite tackle in the draft from Florida. He's going to be there. Devin White out of LSU. Christian Wilkins, the Clemson defensive tackle. Jonah Williams, the tackle from Alabama. And Quinnen Williams, the defensive tackle from Alabama. So, these are all big names. They're all great, and I understand why they want to be there. It's their day. It's their big day. They want to walk across that stage. They want to get that bear hug from the commissioner. I understand. But with the same, the other side of the coin is that, somebody's going to get twisted and destroyed, and mentally just the anguish is going to be so much. We're going to see it on their faces. And the people who enjoy that kind of pain will tune in and watch them roasted and burned on live TV. So, should be interesting. Now, of course, with this type of thing, there's always some interesting aspects to it. Now, Las Vegas is taking prop bets on this particular scenario, who's going to be the last guy in the green room. And I find that interesting. So being a professional gaming bettor, I find this type of thing interesting. Now, I usually stay away from the prop bets. I like to stick with the mainstream bets that I can hedge and work a percentage in the middle. And I'll explain to you guys what that stuff is later in the season when we're actually doing it. Try to work out profitable betting. But in this particular scenario, this would be considered a prop bet. A proposition bet is a bet that's not normally mainstream. It's one that's kind of odd, or one you wouldn't see up on the board at a sports book. Some of the larger books you might even see prop bets on the board, but they started off as proposition bets, meaning that they're just off the board. one-time bets for a certain situation. And in this situation, we're talking about who's going to be left in the green room last. That's an interesting prop bet. Vegas is putting up odds on it. I don't have the odds on each player, but it would be interesting to see how somebody could make money on a prop bet like this. Now, you know there's a couple of names that are going to go in this first round. There's no question. I mean, Kyler Murray's not going to fall out of the first round. Quinnen Williams is not going to fall out of the first round. So you can eliminate guys, and you could try to get a smaller pool on what the bet should entail. As far as something that you want to bet on the person who's going to be left. And so you want to eliminate all those names that you are absolutely certain that are going to go in the first round. And it's pretty easy to do that. I think that in this particular case, you could try to aim for some big names that you know are going to be struggling towards the end. You know, a guy like Daniel Jones, quarterback from Duke, might not go in the first round. He's one that I'd want to keep on my radar for this. So what you want to do in order to make money on a proposition bet is you want to pick 2 or 3 guys that are pretty good chances to still be on the board. And you want to bet on them marginally to basically make a profit or make some money on those guys. A guy like Daniel Jones, let's just say we're taking $100, we put $100 on Daniel Jones to win $100 be even money or something like that, depending on the odds that are put up in the book for him. Let's say that it's not even money. Let's say that he's a 3-to-1 favorite to be the last guy on the board. So you put up $100 to win 3. Okay, so now you're talking about, you know, having a $300 profit there. You could take that money and you could bet on a couple of long shots where the guys are like 90, 100, 200 to 1 to be left on the board, and if they hit, you're making fabulous money, but it's a free bet because you know that you're going to hit on the Daniel Jones or, you know, whoever is going to be last, Greedy Williams or whatever. And you're putting some money on theirs to just on those bets just to make back the money you're putting out on bets. So what you want to do is you want to hit the long shot, but at the very least you want to bet enough to make up what you're laying out in bets. And I think that you can do that in this situation on this particular prop bet. And we'll probably talk about it in the future about which one I'd bet on as it gets closer to the draft, because there might be even more guys that are showing up. And how to place this bet so that you can A, protect the outlay of how much you're putting out, and B, give yourself a free roll or a chance to win a lot of money. So we'll talk about that in the future. But I just wanted to put that out there, that this particular situation opens it up to a pretty interesting prop bet in Vegas, and talk about the betting aspect of it, because we haven't really gone into too much of the betting aspect in any of the videos that I've done. Now, as far as the Jets are concerned, you know, they're at number 3. So, you know, we're going to pick one of these guys off the board here pretty early, probably a Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, Josh Allen type, you know, trio, the guys that are going to be gone long before they get to the end of the first round anyway. So, you know, that's not much of a concern. The Jets aren't going to cause anybody any misery here in this scenario, I don't think. So, anyway, guys, quick video. Just wanted to talk about the 23 potential Aaron Rodgers, Thurman Thomas, Boomer Esiason candidates here to be miserable in the draft room, in the green room on draft day, and get your guys' opinion. Please give me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you think is going to be the last man standing in the green room? Who do you guys think? And don't forget, it doesn't even have to make it through the first round. It just has to be the last guy standing. So, you know, remember that when you're talking about the proposition bet. Give me a comment down below. Like the video. Please share. I really appreciate it. The shares get the information out there. And also remember, a reminder, please remember that we'll be live streaming the first round of the draft so we can watch these guys' misery in person, as well as all the great drafts and trades that are going to be made in that first round. It's going to be a great day. I hope to see you all there with me. I'm going to do a lot of commenting and just a back and forth. It's going to be really good. So looking forward to having you all there. And that's it for this one. Short video. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you next time. Remember, let's go Jets.